You are watching the Huddle Ninja here with Jason Anik and producer Steve. We talked about Ohio State, Texas yesterday. Let's dig into the other semifinal now, which could be a fantastic football game. Notre Dame, a 1.5-point favorite against the Penn State Nittany Lions. The total 46.5. I believe that's down a full point after opening 47.5. I texted Steve yesterday and I said Ohio State, Texas, probably the game that determines the national champion. But Penn State Notre Dame could be the better game. Steve, your thoughts on the spread here at 1.5?
I mean, it has to be a tight spread, right? Like, this just makes sense to me, and the number scares me. So right now, I won't be touching that one. I will be looking at that total, though, because, man, when you get Notre Dame giving up 14 points a game and Penn State giving up 16 points a game, and neither offense really being a prolific passing attack, both relying heavily along the run. We'll see what Jeremiah Love's knee is like come game time. This one screams defense, and it screams unders.
I see Ian McMillan. We'll get to IMAC in a moment here. But, Jason, you were on the Irish yesterday. It cashed, with relative ease, let's be honest. But Riley Leonard, like we talked about, solid, if unspectacular, throwing the ball 15 to 24, just 90 yards. He made some plays with his legs. But all in all, it wasn't a noteworthy game from Riley Leonard and this Irish offense yesterday. Does that give you pause in regards to the thought of backing the Irish against the Nittany Lions?
No doubt about it. No question about it. You alluded to 90 passing yards. That's a real number. Penn State, 8th in the nation against the rush. So Leonard better be able to do this. And Ninja, I thought you made a good point yesterday talking about Notre Dame, right? Blowing everybody out. They played with a lead all year, so they get behind a little bit. I maybe believe in him a little bit less. If they face a big deficit against this Penn State team who has put up points, who's put together back-to-back good games, they've lost 2 games on the year, both to Oregon and Ohio State, each by a touchdown. I sort of lean Penn State. I'm with Steve here. I look at the under, and I thought you used a good word talking about that Notre Dame total, talking about that defense. You used the word expert, Ninja. It's a really good word for it because they were just, even in spots where they had that penalty at one point, brought up a 4th and short. I mean, there was no room to operate.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting what that Irish defense can do against, a Penn State team. Drew Allard, decent quarterback, but they do have a really good running game. So on that flip side, Steve, Penn State, very good against Boise State, specifically against Ashton Genty. He did get 104 yards, but that was on 30 carries for 3.5 per. Maddox Madsen, the quarterback at Boise State, threw the 3 picks. Does this give you the impression that the Nittany Lions defense can give this talented Notre Dame backfield a bit of a headache in that game?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, these are 2 of the best rush defenses in the country. But here's the thing. Indiana had the best rush defense in the country, and look what Notre Dame did to them, right? Although, different schedule, yada, yada, I get it. I'm not going down that whole bullshit road. But they gave up 300 yards. Penn State gave up 300 yards in the air to Boise State.
Yes.
And if Riley Leonard puts up 300 yards in the air, it's going to look a lot different, right? So that will be my one takeaway from there. And, I mean, both teams are stubborn, man. They're going to run the ball. Right? Like, that's just the way it is. And grind out a 17-13 win or something,
Good point. So let me ask you this then, Steve. What will be more important for Penn State against this Notre Dame defense? Drew Allard and, frankly, a less than stellar wide receiver group, or that 2-headed backfield of Singleton and Allen that Penn State has?
Man, I always want to say the quarterback because they have the ball every play. But if Penn State gets that running game going, like, that's their thing, right? That's what they need to boost the whole team. And you break off a couple of runs with Allen and Singletary, it could be trouble for Notre Dame, man. It really could. But, yeah, it's a good point Josie brings up. Like, I know, they gave up 164 yards, right? Like, or Allard had 164 yards against Ohio State, and that was basically the best pass defense they played. They played Illinois. He had around the same amount of yardage as well. Like, it's Drew Allard's just different, man. He's a college quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's not someone I don't think we're going to see playing on Sundays, but he can just grind it out, man. You know what I mean? But
does the head coaching situation, what does that do for you?
You know what I think that does? I think that just gives us something to talk about. Yeah. Like when it's 3rd and 1 at the 50-yard line, the players aren't like, oh, James Franklin is going to get yelled at if we don't get this ball, if we don't get this first down. Like, no, it's a media narrative. Like, it's obviously true. Right? There's numbers to back it up. But, I mean, it's just something fun to talk about in the media leading up to the game. Now, it could affect Franklin eventually if he starts feeling a lot of that pressure. But, yeah.
So I sit here, we're still a week away thereabouts, but I lean Josie, plug your ears. Penn State. Jason Anik, if you had to put a bet in today, what are you considering?
Definitely playing the under, even though it's my least favorite bet to play, as just from an enjoyment standpoint. It's like last night, I didn't enjoy tailing you, Ninja, even though you made me some money. But no, I'd lean under. And yeah, Josie, plug your ears as well. I guess Penn State was very underwhelming. Excuse me, Notre Dame was very underwhelming for me yesterday. So I lean Penn State. But ultimately, as the week, I love me some Marcus Freeman. So as the week goes along, I think a lot will change. And especially for those of us that are focused on the professional football, there's a lot more I need to take in before having my hands fully wrapped around this game.
Yep, for sure. There you see it. 1.5 for the Irish, 46.5 on the board. Steve, you're leaning under as well as we sit here a week out.
Yeah. The under is the way to go. I don't really feel good about either side, but I feel great about the under.